Normandy, June 1944. An American rifleman crouches in a hedgerow, taking fire from a German position 200 yards ahead. His throat is dust dry. His belt-mounted canteen ran empty 30 minutes ago. There's a second one in his pack, right behind him, strapped to his back, completely unreachable without standing up, unbuckling 4 straps and taking the entire system off his shoulders. He stays thirsty, he stays in the fight. The extra water stays on his back. Same hedgerow, different soldier. A German machine gunner lies prone, scanning the field for movement. His throat is dust dry, too, but his canteen, it's clipped to his belt, his bread bag, right there on his hip. His cleaning kit, same place. He reaches down without moving his eyes from the field, unclips the canteen, takes a drink, clips it back. Never broke his sight line, never compromised his position, never stopped watching the American line. Same battlefield, same desperation for basic supplies. But one soldier could access his gear without thinking. The other soldier had to choose between staying combat effective and staying supplied. That was the difference. Not courage, not training, not firepower, accessibility. One simple detail American engineers missed when they designed the M1928 haversack. A detail so obvious, so fundamental, that thousands of American infantrymen would learn it the hardest way possible, by watching German soldiers do what they couldn't. Let me show you how America tried to beat Germany's field equipment and missed the one thing every single soldier actually needed. 1910. The United States Army needed a standardized infantry pack, something every rifleman could carry, something that held a soldier's life on his back. The result was the M1910 haversack. Then came the M1928. Minor improvements, quick-release buckles instead of buttons, better strap placement, upgraded materials, but the fundamental design? Exactly the same. Picture it. The M1928 wasn't just a backpack, it was an engineering solution. American engineers looked at the problem of carrying everything a soldier needed and decided to create an integrated system. One piece of equipment, everything attached, everything organized, everything accounted for. The pack itself was a canvas envelope. You didn't load it like a bag. You laid everything out flat, folded it in a specific sequence. Your shelter half went here. Your blanket went there. Your extra uniform rolled inside specific folds. Your rations packed into the haversack body in a precise arrangement. One can of meat component here. Container of hardtack there. Socks in this position. Toilet articles in that position. Then came the folding. 4-part fold system. Bring the sides in. Fold the flap over. Thread the binding straps through specific loops. Buckle them down. Tighten to specification. Attach the pack carrier, the triangular diaper that held your bedroll, using a coupling strap threaded through buttonholes. Connect it to your cartridge belt with suspender hooks. Add the mess kit pouch to the outside. Strap the entrenching tool to one side, bayonet to the other. When properly assembled, the M1928 was a marvel of organization. Everything had its place, everything secured, everything distributed for optimal weight balance. In garrison, with time and space and good lighting, soldiers could pack these systems beautifully. Training manuals showed the proper technique. Drill sergeants inspected the folds. Supply sergeants demonstrated the correct strap sequences. It worked, in theory, on paper, in controlled conditions. Then soldiers took them to combat. 1944, France, Italy, Belgium, Germany. Anywhere American infantry fought, the same pattern emerged. The M1928 haversack became the most hated piece of equipment many soldiers ever carried. Not because it was heavy, not because it was poorly made, not because it broke easily, The canvas was durable, the straps were strong, the buckles held, the engineering was sound. The problem was simpler, more fundamental, more frustrating. You couldn't get into it. A rifleman pinned down by mortar fire needed his entrenching tool. Right now. Not in 5 minutes. Not after carefully unbuckling 4 straps and dismantling the pack system. Right now. But regulations had the entrenching tool mounted to the haversack carrier. Some soldiers improvised, strapped it to their belt instead, but the system as designed put it on their back. To reach it without violating procedure, he had to take the entire system off. Stand up, remove it, unbuckle it, retrieve the tool, then decide, do I put this whole thing back on, or do I leave it here and hope I can find it later? A machine gunner in a defensive position needed fresh socks. His current pair was soaked through. The misery was constant. The risk was real. Wet feet in cold conditions led to swelling, numbness, and worse. Dry socks wouldn't solve everything, but they'd help. They'd give him a fighting chance to stay on his feet tomorrow. But his dry socks? Rolled inside the shelter half, which was rolled inside the blanket, which was buckled into the pack carrier, which was attached to the haversack, which required complete disassembly to access. An infantryman on patrol needed to eat. His stomach was empty, his energy was fading. His K rations were right there, in his pack, behind 4 buckles, 2 straps, and a carefully folded envelope system that couldn't be opened without taking the whole thing off and laying it on the ground. The M1928 demanded that you stop everything you were doing, find a safe place, remove the entire pack system, lay it out. Unbuckle it, unfold it, retrieve whatever you needed, repack everything, refold everything, rebuckle everything, put it back on, resume what you were doing. In combat, that wasn't inconvenient. It was impossible. So soldiers adapted. They stopped using the packs as designed. They crammed extra rations into their cargo pockets. They tied canteens to their belts with improvised straps. They stuffed personal items into their shirts. They left non-essential equipment behind. They ditched the packs entirely when they could, carrying only ammunition and water. The carefully engineered load distribution system? Abandoned. The organized packing method? Ignored. The integrated equipment solution? Rejected. Because American engineers had designed a system that looked perfect and worked terribly. Meanwhile, across every battlefield where American and German forces clashed, German soldiers carried a different approach to the same problem, an approach that had evolved over decades of hard-won experience into something that worked. The M31 Brotbeutel, the bread bag. Nothing sophisticated about it. Canvas bag, roughly 10 inches tall, 11 inches wide at its broadest point. Single main compartment, small pocket on the front flap. 3 leather straps with metal hooks that clipped directly to the combat belt. 2 D-rings on the back for an optional shoulder strap. That was it. That was the entire design. A bag on a belt. But here's what made it genius. Accessibility. A German soldier wore his bread bag on his right hip, or his left, depending on his role. Didn't matter. What mattered was that it hung there, on his belt, within reach. Always. Inside that bag went everything he needed regularly. Daily rations, eating utensils, cleaning kit for his rifle, field cap when not wearing it, personal items, anything he might need to access quickly. The bag stayed on his belt whether he was marching, fighting, sleeping, or eating. He didn't remove it to access it, he just reached down, unbuttoned the flap, grabbed what he needed, buttoned it closed. Done. 10 seconds, maybe 15 if he was being careful. No disassembly required, no straps to unbuckle, no system to dismount. Just open, retrieve, close. The German soldier fighting from a prone position? He could reach his bread bag without moving his torso, roll slightly to one side, unbutton the flap, grab a ration tin, roll back, keep fighting. The German soldier on patrol? He could eat while walking, one hand on his weapon. Other hand fishing a piece of bread from his bag. Never broke stride, never lost formation. The German soldier pinning down American infantry? He could clean his weapon's bolt without standing up, without taking off any equipment, without compromising his position. The cleaning kit was right there, on his belt, in his bag. This wasn't advanced engineering. This was the opposite of advanced engineering. This was simplicity refined through years of battlefield experience. German kit had evolved, not through formal doctrine or engineering philosophy, but through practical necessity, into a system that naturally prioritized accessibility in combat. And that's something American designers missed. In combat, a soldier doesn't need equipment that carries everything perfectly. He needs equipment that lets him access anything instantly. The German belt kit system extended beyond just the bread bag. It was an entire philosophy of load carrying. The Y-straps, Koppeltragergestell for infantry, distributed weight across the shoulders and back. But they didn't lock equipment away. They supported what hung on the belt. Ammunition pouches on the front, bread bag on the side, canteen and mess kit attached to the bread bag's D-rings, gas mask canister when required, though many soldiers dropped these once gas threats disappeared, entrenching tool when needed, everything on the belt, everything accessible, everything within reach without removing anything. When a German soldier needed to carry more, his full rucksack for long movements, he attached the A-frame to his Y-straps. The A-frame held the heavier items: blanket, tent quarter, extra clothing, reserve supplies. Things he didn't need during combat. When combat was imminent, he detached the A-frame, left it with the baggage train, went into action with just his belt kit, ammunition, water, food, basic supplies, everything he needed, nothing he couldn't quickly reach. The system scaled, light fighting load when speed mattered, medium load for extended patrols, heavy load for long marches. But the core principle never changed. The things you need most stay on your belt where you can reach them. American infantrymen noticed this. How could they not? They were fighting the same battles in the same conditions. They saw German soldiers eating on the move, saw them cleaning weapons without breaking cover, saw them accessing gear without removing packs, and when American units overran German positions, something revealing happened. Soldiers searched through captured equipment, not just weapons, not just ammunition, personal gear. Specifically, they looked for German bread bags. Those olive-green canvas bags with the 3 leather straps became prized possessions among American infantry, traded between soldiers, kept hidden from supply officers who might confiscate them as contraband, passed from veteran to replacement. Everyone who could get one wanted one, because soldiers in combat don't care about regulations, they care about survival. And the German bread bag helped them survive. Some GIs did direct comparisons, tried to access rations from their M1928 haversack. Took 3 minutes, required removing the pack, required safe space to do so, required both hands and mental focus. Then tried accessing rations from a captured German bread bag. Took 15 seconds, didn't require removing anything. Could be done while prone, while moving, while maintaining combat readiness. Same soldier, same need, completely different results. So, what happened? Why did American engineers miss something so obvious? The answer lies in how they approached the problem. American designers saw infantry load carrying as an engineering challenge. How do we create a system that carries the maximum amount of equipment in the minimum space while distributing weight optimally across the soldier's frame? That's an engineer's question, and the M1928 answered it brilliantly. It did carry maximum equipment. It did distribute weight well. It was, from a pure engineering standpoint, an excellent solution. But engineers asked the wrong question. German designers, or more accurately, German soldiers who'd learned through decades of experience, asked a different question. How do we let a soldier access what he needs without stopping what he's doing? That's a combat question. And the M31 bread bag answered it perfectly. The detail America missed wasn't technical, wasn't about materials or buckle design or strap placement. It was philosophical. It was understanding that in combat, accessibility matters more than capacity, that reaching your gear matters more than carrying the maximum possible load, that staying combat effective while accessing supplies matters more than having everything organized in a perfect integrated system. The M1928 forced soldiers to choose, stay equipped and immobile, or stay mobile and under-equipped. The M31 bread bag eliminated that choice. Stay equipped and mobile. Both. Simultaneously, always. The consequences accumulated slowly, not in dramatic battlefield defeats, not in catastrophic failures, in thousands of small degradations of combat effectiveness. Every time an American rifleman couldn't access his cleaning kit under fire, his weapon was slightly more likely to jam. Every time a machine gunner couldn't reach dry socks, the misery continued. Wet feet in cold mud, the risk of swelling and numbness building with every hour. Every time an infantryman couldn't eat without removing his pack, his energy dropped a little more. None of these were decisive failures. None of them cost battles by themselves, but compounded across hundreds of thousands of soldiers over years of combat. The cost was real. Compare two soldiers, both fighting in the Hurtgen forest, both cold, both hungry, both exhausted. The American needs to eat, has to find cover, remove his pack, unbuckle multiple straps, dig through the carefully folded contents, find his K-ration, eat it, repack everything, put the pack back on. Takes 5 minutes minimum. 5 minutes not watching the tree line, 5 minutes vulnerable. The German needs to eat. Reaches down, unbuttons his bread bag, pulls out bread and sausage, buttons the bag closed, eats while maintaining his position. Takes 30 seconds. 30 seconds he never broke his sight line. Multiply that difference across every meal, every equipment access, every moment when supplies were needed. And you start to understand what American engineers missed. They missed the reality of combat. They missed that soldiers fight and move and access equipment simultaneously. They missed that stopping to manage your pack is stopping being a soldier. The irony is that American forces had all the evidence they needed before the M1928 ever went into production, before the first unit deployed with it, before the first soldier tried to access his gear under fire. Intelligence officers had examined German equipment. They'd captured bread bags. They'd photographed them. They'd documented their use. They knew German soldiers carried their immediate supplies on belt-mounted equipment, but American designers looked at that simple canvas bag and thought, we can do better. We can build something more advanced, more integrated, more engineered. They were right. They did build something more advanced, more integrated, more engineered. The M1928 was objectively more sophisticated than the M31 bread bag. It was also objectively worse at keeping soldiers combat effective, because sophistication isn't always superiority. Integration isn't always improvement. Engineering complexity isn't always advancement. Sometimes, maybe most times in combat, the simple solution is the right solution. Not because it's crude, not because it's primitive, but because it solves the actual problem soldiers face. And the actual problem wasn't how to carry the most equipment. It was how to access critical equipment without dying while you do it. After the war, lessons sank in. Slowly, reluctantly, but they sank in. The M1944 Combat Pack moved toward a more modular approach. The M1945 Field Pack continued that trend. Post-war development led to the Alice system, then Mole, then modern plate carrier configurations. All of them embraced the same principle the Germans understood in the 1930s. Keep critical equipment accessible on load-bearing gear. Keep it on your belt or vest where you can reach it. Keep it available without removing anything. Modern American infantry wear plate carriers festooned with pouches, magazine pouches, medical pouches, grenade pouches, radio pouches, utility pouches. Everything soldiers need most, right there on their chest and sides, accessible, reachable, available. The rucksack? That's for extra equipment. Long-duration supplies. Things you don't need every minute. Things you can drop when contact is imminent. Things you can leave behind and retrieve later. The Germans had that figured out 80 years ago. The M1928 Haversack serves as a permanent reminder about the danger of engineering for engineering's sake, about the value of understanding user requirements before designing solutions, about the difference between solving the problem you think exists and solving the problem that actually exists. American engineers thought the problem was, how do we create an integrated carrying system? German soldiers knew the problem was, how do we let soldiers access their gear without stopping being soldiers? Different questions, different solutions, different results. And through decades of battlefield experience, German kit had evolved to answer that second question, not through deliberate engineering philosophy. Through hard lessons learned in trenches and on mountainsides and in frozen positions where accessibility meant survival. The detail America missed was fundamental: accessibility without removal. The ability to reach what you need while doing what you're doing. The capacity to stay supplied while staying combat effective. German soldiers had it. American soldiers didn't. And American soldiers noticed. They noticed every time they watched a German soldier eat while fighting, every time they struggled with their own pack's buckles and straps, every time they traded cigarettes for a captured bread bag. They learned what American engineers should have known before the first haversack ever left the factory. In combat, the best equipment is equipment you never think about, equipment that works with you. Equipment that doesn't force you to choose between staying equipped and staying effective. The M31 bread bag was that equipment. Simple, accessible, functional, perfect. The M1928 haversack was not. Complex, inaccessible, impractical, sophisticated. And that was the detail. That was the difference. That was what separated equipment that soldiers loved from equipment soldiers hated. One let you access your gear without thinking. The other made you stop thinking about anything else. In combat, that wasn't a minor inconvenience. It was the difference between being effective and being vulnerable, between staying in the fight and stopping to manage your pack, between surviving and not. American engineers missed it, German designers understood it, American soldiers learned it the hard way. And the lesson? Sometimes the detail you miss isn't something small. Sometimes it's the most important thing, the one thing that makes everything else either work or fail. For the M1928 haversack, that detail was accessibility, the ability to reach inside without taking it off, the capacity to access your gear while still being a soldier. America tried to beat Germany's field kit with engineering sophistication. They succeeded at making something more complex. But they missed the one detail every soldier needed, the detail that made equipment useful instead of just carried. The detail that German soldiers had enjoyed for years while American soldiers struggled with straps and buckles and four-part folding systems. Accessibility. That was the detail. That was everything. If this deep dive into World War II equipment failures and combat realities resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe. Next time, we're examining another piece of American equipment that looked perfect on paper but failed in the field. You won't want to miss it.